In this video, I will prove to you why, if you want to be rich and successful, don't go for further academic studies, but you should do this instead. Take time and listen to this carefully. I didn't say if you want to have other things, if you want to have other benefit, but if you want to be rich and successful, you shouldn't go for higher academic studies. I didn't say you shouldn't go for higher studies. I'm talking of higher. You see, I'm just trying to let you know that majority of what we learn in school, or most of what people go do masters, PhD, over 70 to 80% of them, it doesn't really help. And at the end of the day, it even make them poorer, or it even drags them to suffer more and more. And I will explain to you and prove to you why I think most of the degrees and the money that they spend to go for those degrees are not worth it. Now, when I was a child, I used to follow conventional wisdom. But when I was growing up, I started around, let's say, in my mid-20s, I started thinking objectively and started analyzing everything that people say. And when I started doing that, I realized that most of the things we believe are not actually true. For example, conventional wisdom will tell you that the most successful people are, or the most highly educated people are the most successful people. Conventional wisdom will tell you that it's a certificate that will show you that you need a certificate to prove that you really have some knowledge in something. But all those, I think they are not true. Why do I say so? Do you know, and have you ever thought of this? You know that of the top 10 richest people in the world today, the top 10 richest people, 3 of them don't have a bachelor degree. Do you know that only 3 of them have master's degree? And you know that only 4 of them have a bachelor. Of the top 10, 3 don't have bachelor, 3 of them have masters, and 4 of them have bachelor degree. That is the top 10 richest people in the world as of now. Then if you look at the top 100 people in the world, you know that 76% of them, the top 100 billionaires, 76% of them either don't have a bachelor degree, that is, they drop out of college or they didn't go to university at all, or they have a degree. So 76% of them, the highest education they ever have is a bachelor degree, and majority of them are dropouts. So 76% of the top 100 billionaires either don't have a bachelor degree, or the highest education they have is bachelor. And I told you majority of them are dropouts. You can go and find out. Then, do you know that only 23% of the top 100 billionaires have a master's degree, and only 6% have a PhD? If becoming rich and successful were getting higher and higher academic education, then the PhD, the professors would have been dominating that list. But that is not true. So, if your goal is to be rich, to be successful, to be impactful, to make a change to the world, it is, if your option, if you are thinking of going to the higher academic ladder to make that change, and I am telling you that it may not be the way to go. There are other professional courses and short courses that people can go through without going through the normal long theoretical system, but they will make a bigger impact, and I will show you at the end. There are exceptions to every rule, and I will show you what I'm trying to say exactly. Now, I want to even ask you, have you ever thought of what is the true meaning of the word education? Because majority think that education is the same as going to school. And I tell you the truth, over 90% of people in school are not really educated. Why do I say so? Education is from the Latin word educo. Educo means to develop your mind, to grow from within, to attain knowledge, to be able to make your life better, to be able to improve your reasoning or judgment. That is the meaning of educo. If one, you can check the etymology of the word education, and you will see educo is where the word came from. And you look at what educo actually means, you will see all that I'm telling you. Now, I want to ask you a question. If you have 2 people, one of them went through the formal academic system up to master's level, and he comes out, and let's say for 5 years he is unemployed looking for a job, or maybe he doesn't even he doesn't get a job, and he is managing and doing something, or he goes to get a particular job that is not really paying him what he wants, but he's just managing, or he's sitting in the house unemployed for 5 years. And someone who didn't go to university at all, his highest level was SHS, but he has been able, after SHS, he invested his life into a skill that is able to help him provide a certain value or service, or product that is paying him several thousands or millions. If you sit down and look at the two of them, who do you think is actually educated? Majority of the unemployed group in the world today or in any country are from the educated group. When I say the educated, those that have gone to university, masters, and they are the people that form the majority of the unemployed group. So that will not really be true education, because if the person is truly educated, he or she should be able to find a way to survive when things are tough. Not that that particular person is the one that will be struggling, and if he or she doesn't get employed, he or she will struggle for years in poverty. So there are 3 reasons that I'm going to show you. But before I go to the reasons, I want to let you know that by the end of this video, I will give you the exceptions. There are certain courses that if you want to pursue that particular category, you have to definitely go for the higher academic ladder. But let's look at the majority of what people go through. See, so the number 1 reason why I think if you want to be rich and successful, you should not go for higher academic education is this: it doesn't help you to identify your life purpose early. If there is anything that you need to succeed in this life, it is to identify your purpose. Majority of what you are taught in school will not teach you how to identify your purpose. It won't help you identify your purpose and focus on that area to develop it very well. But most of the time, you will learn general theoretical courses that will not help you much at the end of the day. Most of you, if you be frank with yourself, what you learn in school, if you are to look at the courses that you learn and what you're doing today, according to a research by Forbes Business, 76% of people studied in school, or what people studied in school, where they are working, is totally different from what they studied in school. That is a research. What they are doing currently is different from what they studied in school. That is not a small number, over 70%. Then you ask yourself, so why is it that what they studied in school, they are not working in that particular area, but they are doing something totally different? So it actually means that most of them either didn't discover their purpose while they were in school. That's one of the reasons. Or what they studied, they came out and there's no work in that area for them. So any opportunity that was available to them, they took it. So if you had actually spent much time developing your skill or your talent and focusing on what you are good at, and focus on that area, and you become so good at it, look, there's no way you'll be so good at something and the world will not look for you. If you become an expert in something, you become so good at it, and your area is so, you see, when you specialize to a very high level, there is even going to be what? The scarcity of that particular skill that you have. A majority of people are going to look for you, and there's no way you'll come out and be struggling and be stranded in that particular area. So if school really prepares us well, looks at the passion or our whatever we are good at, and develops that from the onset, we will not come out and be struggling. Compare someone who identifies his talent in sports, football or basketball or athletics early, or music or acting at a very early age, and that person invested his life into that at his very teen years till he becomes an adult, and you the one who will go through the long route to 35 years. By the 35 year, maybe you have completed your master's degree and you realize that what you studied in school, there's no you are not getting any work in that area. Compare you and the one who started his career in his teens, that who will be more successful in what he or she is doing. And this is the problem with school. School doesn't teach you how to focus, or it doesn't help you identify your purpose early. So that's number 1 reason. Then number 2 is that higher academic education is very expensive. Why do I say so? I want you to look. I went and did a research, even in the best of education in countries like the United States. Okay, I have realized that an average US student, about 73 of them, I can't remember the exact figure, but it is over 70% of them are on student loans. And out of those who are on student loans, I realized that when they complete school, almost all of them spend an average of 20 years to be able to pay the student loan debt. An average of 20 years, which is majority, or some of them, according to what I saw, were more than 20. Some were also below 20, but average is 20. So think about it. If someone in the US will take a loan to go for master's or PhD and will come out and work for like 20 years before he is able to pay for that student loan, and the story is similar to most other countries. Imagine the amount of money you will spend in paying that student loan debt just for education of maybe either 4 or 2 years. So you realize that we spend so much money. We spend so much money in educating ourselves in areas where you can even learn those skills for relatively lower cost. And I am not against education. I am talking about academic, that rough academic theoretical teaching or education. That doesn't help you much in life. I am a staunch believer of education, but the right education. If you look at all the books that are here, and there are several books around. After I left my bachelor degree, or after I left my undergraduate studies, I have studied over 270 books. And I know that if I were to go for even a PhD, maybe probably I wouldn't have studied up to all these books that I'm saying. But what I want you to know is that books actually will help you to be able to develop a good mindset, to have more practical knowledge from people who have experienced what they are teaching you. And it will help you to become a better person. So for me, learning doesn't stop or doesn't end when I complete school. From the day I even left school, that is where learning began for me. So I want you to have time for education. In fact, I've taken some online courses and I continue to take courses. But I want you to know that people spend some 1 or 2 days to go for courses on some online courses that is helping them far better than what they studied for 4 years. So if you think about it yourself, something you may spend days or weeks to learn, and something you have spent years to learn and paid so much money, and the one you spend days or weeks to learn is bringing you far more value than what you spend several years to learn. Which one is really worth the money? And there are a lot of online courses today that are relatively cheaper, more practical, a very affordable cost. But majority of people don't see this. They want to go for those long certificate that they say they have the certificate. But even if you go for it and it's able to help you, fine. But if you come out and still struggle to even find your way and even not even find, in fact, most of you are underemployed. Underemployed because you know that the certificate you have and what you are being paid, you should have been paid more than that. So you have to look at all these things before you consider going for that degree. And I know a lot of people in Ghana who have gone for loans. Someone has gone for 25,000 to go for a master's degree, and he has come out and he is being paid. The increment is about 200 Ghana cedis of his salary, 200 to 300 Ghana, and you realize that the person will take more than 10 years to even pay for the loan debt. Or maybe if the person is going to take the salary increment to pay for the loan debt, it may take him more than 10 years to be able to pay for that loan. You see that it is not worth it. Okay, then I will now talk about the last reason why I think higher academic education may not help you if your intention is to be rich and successful. The last one I'm talking about, it doesn't help you think outside the box. Majority of what you are taught in school is to follow the norms, to go with to conform to the norms, to the established patterns and what is available already. But do you know that most of the people who have brought ideas that have been game changers and have transformed humanity are people who probably didn't discover those ideas in the classroom? Think about people like Henry Ford, who invented the car. He was not educated. He has only about 2 years education. Henry Ford invented the car, and we are all enjoying transport today. And look at the one who invented that car was not in school. Look at Henry Ford, only a few years of education. Look at what he has been able to do. Look at the Wright brothers, the people who invented the aeroplane. They were junior high school dropouts. They didn't go to even senior high school. They didn't go to university. At that time, they were professors of aeronautics who could not come up with an idea like invented the aeroplane. It was junior high school dropouts who went and were bicycle mechanics who thought of inventing an aeroplane, and they came up with those ideas. There are several of them. Most of the inventions that have changed life and humanity, they are people who dedicated their life to research on those ideas and to practice over and over and over and over and over and thinking outside the box till they came out of those ideas. They are the people who brought out the groundbreaking ideas. I want you to know that if you take your time to read books to educate yourself. Education, just know that education doesn't stop when you stop being in the classroom. Education begins actually from there. If you take time to develop your ideas and put more effort in trying to really know how things work, at the end of the day, you are going to become a very better person. There are some exceptions, as I was talking about. If your goal is to go to courses like nursing, medicine, accounting, and law, those areas are professional courses that you must go through the school system. But apart from these and a few other professional courses, there are other areas where you don't need typical school. Most of you are thinking that if you had got a master's or PhD, you would have been a better person than who you are. It could have helped, but I want you to know that it's not a guarantee. You could actually become that better person. Think of people like Kwame Despite. For those who don't know Kwame Despite, he's a Ghanaian business mogul who is a JHS dropout. He didn't even go to SHS. Look at, he's a multi-millionaire, multi-million-dollar millionaire. Okay, so you look at that particular person and the one who has a PhD or that very high degree and is struggling financially. You look at the two of them, who actually has more respect in the society? The answer is clear to you. And I know that if you take time to develop yourself, develop your mind, education, real education is about developing your mind, not about having a paper or a certificate or sitting in the classroom. If you are going for higher studies for maybe the connection or maybe for social connection or other things, it is good. Most of my friends that have done great things are friends I had from the university. But that doesn't mean that for you to succeed, you must go for the university higher education. In fact, bachelor degree is even what most of you need. But after that, beyond that, it may not bring much value to you as you may be thinking. I'm not saying you shouldn't go for your master's or PhD, but I'm only giving you an advice to compare. If your goal is to become rich and successful, then going that way may not be the way for you. Though there are exceptions in every case. Thank you so much for watching. Remember to subscribe, turn on the notification bell, and like this video for other more powerful videos. See you in the next video. Bye bye.